We're live. It is Rich Lieberman, and I told you I'm going to be back, and I'm back, and my voice sounds like shit. But hopefully, with the help of this very cold and frigid, wonderful water from the where is it from? From what is it like? One of those countries way up north where they have. By the way, oh yeah, Iceland, Icelandic water. Do you really know, folks? Do we really absolutely positively know that this water that we're drinking that we got at a 7-Eleven off of a strip mall is actually water that they got from Iceland? I mean, come on. I'm not I'm not saying they're criminal or they're complicit or doing something illegally, but I mean, what happens just I guess some of you folks live in areas where they don't have great tap water. We have good water in the Bay Area. So this is tap water in a freezer. I think this concoction I'm drinking right now is from a bottle of this Icelandic shit that they say is, from Iceland. So it looked good. Price was right. $2, right? I'm there. Meanwhile, I could have just gotten tap water. Anyway, off on another tangent. And yeah, I was indignant. I was a little angry, animated, with a twinkle in my eye, as they say. Talking about the lack of new. We have no media here in the Bay Area for an area as supposedly as rich and diverse as this is. So that's number one. I want to get that. I was intentionally angry with a little bit of a reservation, but it was all sincere. And the Ron and Laura item of the day is that they've gone into hiding. It's planned. It was something to which they discussed, and they didn't return calls, not just to me, but resisted. Um, they've resisted interview requests by the so-called favorable media that they have here in San Francisco. So if that's indeed true, and I have no reason to believe that it's not, I think it's the wrong tactic. I think it's they're given wrong, not necessarily wrong. Let me rephrase that. They're being given lousy advice, whoever they're taking advice from. And I don't think it's lawyers. But yeah, they're deep in hiding, so to speak. And I've also heard that all the documents on, folks, I haven't had a chance to look at them. And I've said this, I'm not going instinctively into the rights and wrongs of one Laura Owens. I've concentrated lately on the media and the Ron and Laura vis-a-vis Jan and just where the money is going and the unscrupulous in nature, means and ways that they've spent that money, if they have, and also the mysterious situation in which they probably have paid attorneys by using that money, I would imagine, especially now that they've declared bankruptcy, which allows them to pay small portions to creditors, all the while showing judge that they are making attempts to pay back their debts. We'll see how that goes. And I've been getting a lot of crap in the Bay Area because I called out the media here because they haven't covered this story. I want to be clear about this. It makes no difference to me in that regard. I'm not going to benefit all of a sudden if they start covering this, they being the media here. I lambast them and put them out to pasture because I have said, and I'll say it again, I think that the Bay Area media, as marginalized as it is doing this, or in this case, not doing this, not covering this story because they don't want to embarrass Ron or blemish his profound legacy as a KGO talk host. Same thing with Jan Black. And I think they've got a favorable amount of people who are in simpatico with them. One of which used to be me. But to go completely silent, to basically take the Titanic approach and hide and get buried is not the right approach either. Excuse me. Ooh, I'm drinking Icelandic water. So I don't think they're getting the proper advice, but that's for them to, decipher and go over. But the twists and turns of this case, in addition to the fact that we're talking about a celebrity in terms of Ron and Jan, less of a celebrity, but still involved and a very celebrated part of the Bay Area media culture, in Ron's case, for 4 decades, over 4 decades. It's a story. It's not a very pretty story to Ron and to Jan, but it's a story because it involves their offspring and he having the Hall of Fame credentials, he being a part of San Francisco culture, political culture, pop culture, social culture. I'm sorry, you have to cover it. And the fact that the Chronicle, is illegitimate of a publication as they become, and they become so dramatically just useless. The fact that they're not covering, again, it just demonstrates their complete and utter incompetence and their rather, negativity. And they're a joke. They really are a joke. And I'll call them out every time I can. And they know. And believe me, there's some people over there who every now and then I get some emails. Please don't, mention who we are. And they go incognito and, they let me know that, they read me over there. They're aware of what's taking place. Their own people understand. Some of these people don't even agree with me, or not necessarily just that. They hate me. Yeah, not that they don't agree with me. They hate me because they don't like my tactics, which is fine. Everybody's got their own way of doing things. This is mine. But they understand that most of what I'm screaming about and bitching about is for real. For real. I haven't said anything that's been proven wrong. And I realize, look, a lot of what I'm saying is an opinion. Of course it is. But I'm calling them out. I'm railing them out because, look, that's who they are. Same thing with the TV news stations. Not to say a word about this, not to mention it. Again, called them out. Somebody at one of the stations, no longer there, but used to work there, great deal of time, said to me, well, to be honest with you, this isn't the kind of story that can be covered at the TV news station or stations. To which I emphatically replied, bullshit. It isn't the type of story. Well, it sure has got a lot of sex appeal. It sure has got a lot of criminal, conduct, instinct, potentially appeal. And yes, it does involve a celebrity. No longer the case now, but still a part of San Francisco broadcast celebrity lore. So I beg to disagree respectfully to this person who told me it doesn't fit the kind of story. And look, you can mention this. You can mention the developments. You could talk about the fact that former KGO Bay Area talk show host Ron Owens is with Jan Black involved indirectly with his daughter's legal travails involving her and the Bachelor, kind of, something like that. You could report it. Doesn't have to fit your MO, but you could report it. And they've ignored it totally. And that tells me, folks, the assumption based upon hunch and fact now, that they don't want to touch this. Once again, I have to implore you to actually listen to what I'm going to say and have said. They do not want to, well, in their mind, pile on, but they don't want to put something unfavorable on their air because Ron used to be Owens, one of their own, a news colleague, talk show host, etc., etc. That's total bullshit. That's total bullshit because they're now, it's almost like a semi-conspiracy. In fact, in the most definitive word, it is a conspiracy that they're working together and not putting this news story out there. Funny too, these schmendricks online, the folks who told me that I'm taking advantage of this and all that, same people who told me that I was ignoring it myself, are now accusing me of trying to make money off of this. How? Tell me how. But, and look, I've done a lot of these shows, and they asked me on. I didn't say, can I go on your show? They called me up. And even if that wasn't the case, I'm here to talk about it. Must be a news story and coverage that they put out in their world. I just cannot believe the degree of out and out, we're just not going to cover it, and we're not going to give you a reason. And now, like I said, they're late to the game. Now they're trying to cover their own ass and make it appear as if they're out there doing their work. I'd like to see the reaction of these folks when they go to their assignment editors and they must periodically, I'm hopeful, I'm assuming, hey, such and such, why are we not doing any story on the Ron Owens, Laura Owens deal? Is this part of our norm? Is this our model? It's bizarre. It's fucked up. It's is that somebody that just came in? Hi, Jane. So, and I'm getting a lot of flack, and I don't care. That's not why I do this. I'm not here to win a popularity contest. I'm not here to get an acceptance on people. Oh, you're doing a good job. You're doing a bad job. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I enjoy, I welcome, I encourage debate. That's why I'm doing this broadcast tonight. In addition to some comedy, we could talk about anything. We could talk about Jerry Lewis. We could talk about the whole thing with the telethon, and we could talk about Labor Day. We could talk about your life, my life. And of course, yes, if you want to talk about the media coverage of the Laura Owens case and The Bachelor and all that stuff, we are here and we are live. And hopefully we'll have the means to do some interaction. But I see people are starting to come in. I announced that I might be coming on late. It's 7:30 in the Pacific time zone, or it's not 7:30 yet, is it? It's close to. Maybe it is already. But I didn't give a specific time. And folks, those of you that want to know my specific time, I will have more of a set schedule. And when I get all that, and when I can figure out how we're going to do this, and we already have done it. I've done kind of like some test shows, and you've all sort of answered the cause and said, you want to see more of what I do, and I'm going to deliver with my voice's acceptance and agreement. Excuse me. Oh, Iceland, you are so delicious. So here I am, and I what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the story. So I'm getting a lot of flack from various people and trolls, and there's always going to be trolls and all that. I'm talking about people that, maybe I was too harsh. Well, no, about describing the media here and going all out to, you know, basically call them out, which I do. You may again disagree with me. Maybe there are people out there, and I know they have devices now where you can be in Tulsa or Colorado or New York and watch our media out here. I don't know why you do that. It's not worth the effort, but you can do that. Maybe you disagree with me and all that. So we're here for that. It's Sunday night. And if I've repeated this, bear with me, because I know in and out people are in and out. And they might nowadays be on their laptop or their computer or their desktop or their device. A lot of people are, even with the TV and YouTube and all that, they're in and out. So um, this is going to be a regular type of show. We're not going to go on every night, but I'm going to do as much as I can do. I will eventually announce, with cooperation and maybe people who have the wherewithal to invest and get me the equipment to where I can make this 100% interactive, where you can call and you can text. And in addition to showing up on the chat here on YouTube and the super chat and all that, we can be interactive and we can get into a great debate. We can talk about movies. We can talk about news. I'm your sounding board. And I want to present to you an avenue to where you can be not alone. Maybe you want to interact. Maybe you have an opinion or two. And I don't want to get into politics. That's something I want to be very open about. And I don't mean it like, I don't want to turn this into Dems and Republicans and independent and Trump is this. I want to stay out of that. I want to talk about, as I said, the news. I want to be your conduit while I sip and not choke again. It's so weird. I think I have some allergy. I know a lot of you are around. Some of you are single, divorced. You're not with. If you don't have a whole lot of family that you're around, and it's a holiday week. We got Labor Day on Monday. And, this is one of those nights where, the weather is relatively good all over the country, except out here. It's hot as hell. And, I've got air conditioning and all that. But in the Bay Area, we're used to getting our fog after 2 or 3 days. And we're now on the day 3. And we're supposed to have one more day of this. And then have our very, very accepted and beloved fog that is our natural air conditioner come out here. So, and that's supposed to happen on Tuesday thereabouts. So I know a lot of you, again, it's and like the Bay Area, but especially the Bay Area, some of you don't have any radio anymore. And I know talk shows are very popular. They tend to be these days on terrestrial radio more politics. I don't want to get into that shit. It's boring. There's so much vitriol and bullshit and crap that's put out there. I don't want to be a part of that here. That doesn't mean I'm a political junkie. I am, but I don't want to turn this into screaming and yelling and Trump's great and he's bad. Democrats are fucked, which but they They're screwed up. I used to be a Democrat till I changed and have become an independent. But I don't want to get into politics because it's just monotony and repetitive, and we're just so fucking fractured and divided and all that shit. Don't want to turn this into Dems are great, Republicans are bad, Republicans are great, Trump's this and that. I'll let you decide that on your own terms, in your own where you want to go. This is about culture. This is about a live experiment sans show with entertainment aspect, with a host who isn't afraid to give his opinion, who would love the idea of interaction. Culture. You may have an unpopular take. You may think certain things are not of the norm. I said earlier today in my plug for this, while I went on my diatribe about the media here, that do we really have to know about not the Taylor Swift? Is it news? That's news too. When it first broke, but to talk about it constantly and talk to a pop culture professor in New York, which took place here in San Francisco, and to keep talking about it, people don't want to hear about that shit. Oh, yeah, some people want to hear about it and they can't get enough of it. I'm not talking about those people. I'm not talking about the argument, too, that, oh, well, we bring it up because that's what people are talking about, which they were and are, yes, but not every 5 minutes. And I can only imagine what this fucking thing is going to be like when they get close to a wedding date. It's going to make the prince and what in England look like, a day at the beach. Nothing big. Do we have an idea as to when that wedding is good? Probably in the summertime. Probably June. But we can turn this into a fun zone. And even look, there's going to be times when there's something, on the news that you might want to discuss. We had the incident the other day in Minnesota, which I talked about. I gave an opinion about me calling out Anderson Cooper and him being righteous and saying he's not going to identify the shooter and he's not going to put a picture up there. All the while, his company, CNN, is running promos. Somebody told me today, and I'm just going to put this out. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just going to, and they put out that it says noted without comment. But if you want to talk about it, that's fine too. Somebody said to me, who very respected industry person, that they think that Cooper didn't want to show the guy, the shooter, and put his name out and all that was because of the fact that he's obviously, well, now he's dead, but that he was trans, that he used to be a guy and then he became, or a woman and all that, which, and of all people, who was it? The gal that does the CNN show before Burnett, what's her name? Something Burnett. Again, I didn't even think about it until I read or heard that kind of a thing. So anyway, whatever. I mean, we got somebody else came in. David. Hello, Dave. David McCall. That's cool. I'm repeating some stuff here, so bear with me. But again, people are in and out, just like radio. The few people that still listen to terrestrial radio. I was very, shall we say, not non-specific about the time that I would come back. I said 7 to 7:30-ish West Coast time, of course, subsequent in the Midwest, and of course, yes, the East Coast. So I went on. I didn't put it up on my social media, my Twitter and all that. I just kind of here, and I thought that people would put out the word that I would be back and that we would have a good old-fashioned, entertainment vehicle. I am live. It is Sunday night, the night before Labor Day. which as a kid, I know a lot of you adults felt the same way, feel the same way. I hated Labor Day. The only good thing was the Jerry Lewis telethon because it was Sunday night. Monday, we didn't go to school. Most people in retail or whatever are not working. Or maybe they are. But I know government people are not working because it's a holiday, right? But I hated this time of the year because it teased you. Of course, we still have summer, but it's known as the unofficial, of course, end of summer. So we would have this shit. And I'm really irritated. Well, I'm irritated because I'm irritated. I'm easily irritated. But I was saying a few weeks back, I swear to God, before the 4th of July, I saw a Halloween ad by Disney. Again, a company I can't stand anymore. And back to school ads before the 4th of July. Here we are, 3 weeks into summer, and I'm seeing these ads already. And it just goes along with the shuffle. Can't we appreciate the fact that yes, time does travel by fast. So can't we enjoy the little summer that we have left and not have to be reminded about Halloween when we haven't even fucking got out of the 4th of July? Is it not absolutely repulsive? It's not the end of the world. I hate that. And the back to school ads, which when I was your age, I'm back on that shit. We didn't go back to school till after Labor Day. In fact, I think it was the Tuesday after Labor Day. And now they're going back in like the second week of August to school. I don't get it. Things have changed. And so I hate this time of the year. It's depressing. It's the calendar and the sky and Mother Nature telling you, hey, asshole, guess what? I control the purse strings here. The days are getting shorter. You're going back to work. You're going back to school. Although I know, kids, they love going back to school. I was kind of combination loving going back to school, but I also hated the fact that I'm going back to school. Yeah, and I had the lunch pail. Remember the lunch pail with your mother's tuna fish sandwich and the cookies that were wrapped up in the plastic and all that shit? I got a kick out of that. And by the way, the tuna sandwich that my mother made, wow, was it good? And I had that smell, that good tuna fish sandwich on the white, what is it? The Wonder Bread or the Kilpatrick's, they're both the same. White bread, mayonnaise, tuna, and that, and the carrot sticks, which kind of sucked because they were carrot sticks. I liked them. But you had that, you had the good, my mom put some fucking great cookies. But, oh my God, one day, many a days, she put the fucking Stella Doros. You guys know what Stella Doros is? They're basically shit cookies, right? I think they're made by Satan. Lousy cookies that they put that shitty gel, that that shit that you get on those of you that don't know what Stella Doro cookies are, but it's like this paste, and it's usually cherry or some crap that they put in the middle of the cookie, and it fucks the cookie up. Yeah, it's called Stella Doro. I think they still make them, but people, know and are wise. I think word got out that whoever makes Stella Doro cookie, boy, that's good. I might look, I'll get a sponsorship, and they'll call me and they'll say, we're really interested in going on your program and as advertisers. And I'll say, great, wonderful. And then they'll look at my show and they'll see that, I basically called out their product and said their cookies were shitty. That's my luck. But back to the shitty cookies, Stella Doros. That garbage gel, kind of jelly, that kind of taste and texture. They put it on, which an otherwise average cookie, but the gel and that shit it completely fucked it up. So, old Jewish mothers, I know, I had one, love those cookies. And if you were at home and it was a rainy day and you were a kid like myself and you obviously couldn't drive cars, you had to rely on walking or catching a bus to go get Oreo cookies or good cookies or those shortbread cookies that tasted positively divine, you were stuck with either not eating the mentioned shit cookies that were Stella Doros. So what did I do? I'd go like pick the shittiest, non-shittiest cookie out of the Stella Doro. In those days, they had the box. Right now, I think they're probably in some bags or something. Excuse me while I've been talking too much today, folks, and I told you I'd be back here, and now we got two people here. I think a lot of people are going to come late because I was late yesterday. So, any event, I was talking about the Stella Dora cookies. But my luck, they'll have one of their ad buyers will come here, but they were fucked up cookies, right? And I did eat them in moments of despair when I didn't have the car, obviously, or the bike to go out and go to the local convenience store or supermarket to get the cookies that everybody likes. The good, fucked up for you cookies like Oreos or shortbread or the Chips Ahoy, whatever. Oh, God, were those good. And then the oatmeal cookies, with the good, that kind of taste that you put in your mouth. It's kind of like a buttery taste, right? My favorite, like many of you's were, but you could only buy these at certain times of the year, of course, were the Girl Scout cookies, the mint chocolate, right? Oh, fuck, were those good. In other words, cookies that were not Stella Doros. So, anyway, what was I talking? Oh, yeah, Labor Day. So, now we would be gathering, I say we, me, my mom loved the Jerry Lewis telephone. And let's face it, as campy and, modeling at times as it was, he had some major pull. He got on guests and singers and comedians and all that. And he got good guests on. And then he did the checks, and then Firefighters Association of whatever's giving a check for, and he had some ridiculously high amounts of money for his kids, the MDA. And I'd get a kick out of it. I could watch that show with a cheese pizza or some chow mein and whatever adult or non-adult beverage and get off on watching that show. A, it's live in Vegas. B, Jerry Lewis was a hoot. And I know all about the shit about Jerry Lewis. Most of it was true. The guy was severely disturbing, angry, but he had power, which is one of the reasons why he was able to get Frank Sinatra all the time. Why Frank Sinatra went out of his way to get and concoct that plan, which some of you didn't see. You can go on here at YouTube and watch it. 1976, when he got Dean Martin to come back on the show, surprised everybody, which we're all like, oh my God. And meet for the first time since, Lewis and Martin and all that. And very entertaining. But Jerry Lewis, and there's a clip of him. He's doing an interview. He's 90 years old, and he doesn't want to be in this interview, but he's doing it because of the fact that he's pubbing a movie that he's going to be in, and I think there's a book or something. But he's with this reporter, and it sounds like some kid. You never see the kid, but he works for the Hollywood Reporter. Excuse me, this is worth hearing. And It's 7 minutes and it's awkward, very, very awkward. And he's just a complete and utter asshole to this kid who admittedly is kind of probably in his early 30s, doesn't know shit other than the fake research that he did about Jerry Lewis. So you have this kid who's asking these stupid questions. Some are fairly okay. And Jerry Lewis is giving like one word answers, like yes. And the guy asks, I'm just paraphrasing, but you worked in Vegas and it wasn't as always as popular today as it was then. Did you still find it, reassuring that you were working in Vegas? There's nothing like, and he would go like, just Jerry Lewis. Not necessarily. And he would do this. And you could see he was clearly annoyed. And the awfulness and the awkwardness of this interview, again, it's only 7 minutes. You got to watch it. It is like must view television. And this kid had to feel it's a good thing that they didn't show his face, because he probably would have been absolutely ridiculed and taken out to task, in addition to Jerry Lewis, who acted like a complete asshole. But that's Jerry Lewis. And his personality is disturbing and weird and out and out, complete fuck you guy as he was. Interesting person. Very bitter. Very, very bitter. You didn't need this video to acknowledge that. I recommend a movie that probably many of you saw, but it's called The King of Comedy, and Jerry Lewis is in it. He plays himself. And Robert De Niro is in it. A disturbing character, but very funny. It's a black comedy. Sandra Bernhardt's in it. It's called The King of Comedy, and you got to watch it. It's Jerry Lewis, and he plays himself. And the De Niro character, Rupert Pupkin, he goes around thinking that he's like a Johnny Carson. And he has this hysterical would-be show that he puts cardboard cutouts in his living room of guests, and he looks and acts like a talk show host. Disturbing, comedic, oh hell yeah, scary. Jerry Lewis is in it, and he gets kidnapped by the Jerry Lewis Pupkin character. And as an accomplice, you have Sandra Bernhard. It's a brilliant, brilliant movie, folks. It's a little disturbing, scary. That's why they call it a dark comedy, black comedy, but you got to watch it. So this time of the year, we would sit around and look at the Jerry Lewis telethon. And it would go on, 24 hours almost? I think they lessened it as the years went by, and I think it would go off the air at 5 o'clock, something like that. But the guy, as much of a prick as he was, as bizarre and disturbing, and you fill in the blanks, he was an interesting character. And I'm surprised they haven't made a movie about Jerry Lewis himself, be it a documentary, be it a feature film, which somebody can play the character. And I just thought off the top of my head who would be brilliant at this would be Tom Hanks. Now, I know there's other actors out there who could probably do it. Tom Hanks would be in thorough character mode, do the story, mimic Jerry Lewis. Obviously, it'd have to be a real, character and do the person and all that. But just off the top of my head, I know there's other people out there that could probably do just a good job. So anyway, I watched it. We all watched it. Some of us didn't. What are you going to do on a Sunday night? It's the middle of a holiday. Somebody was just saying, well, be away, take a trip, go on a boat in a lake. And all. I never got into that. I never. And I didn't want to be out and about. I guess, when I was growing up and all that, it wasn't that big of a deal. And we had the barbecue, but even when you didn't have the barbecue, It was to me like a Saturday night on a Sunday because we didn't have to go to school, obviously, on Labor Day. So I got a thrill, as did Mom. I would call her and say, "Are you watching?" Yeah, of course I'm watching. What do you think I'm crazy, Richie? I'm watching. That was an impression of my mom, which made no sense. But I don't think it sounded like it. She was more like this. I'm watching Jerry Lewis. Of course I am. And she liked, when the character, the old, like, Toady Fields would come out, or, you know, Carol Lawrence or Edie Gourmet with Steve, and they'd play a ballad or a song. And that's when she liked to watch. She wasn't into the theatrics or Ed McMahon periodic updates on the tote board, which in and of itself to me was highly entertaining. Dun dun dun. Ed, take it away. Yes, you are correct, sir. That was Johnny Carson, but he did that with Jerry too. Remember they had the big tote board, and we've got 4 million or whatever it was. They did raise a lot of money, and I thought it was entertaining for all the wrong reasons. And I got a kick out of the Jerry Lewis doing that song. Walk on, walk. And folks, I'm not, before I get shit, I'm not mimicking the kids or, saying bad things, obviously, about the cause and all that. He got a lot of shit for that, Jerry Lewis. They thought he was using this very public and very popular, quite frankly, telethon to advance his own showbiz career when he didn't have much of a career. He already broke up, right, with Dean Martin, and that's all he did. He did some plays and things like that. I remember he was the devil in Damn Yankees, but that was it. He wasn't really on a whole lot of TV shows or movies, and he was controversial. And I didn't even know. I didn't get the shit about. Well, he's very popular in France. They love him in France. There are several comedians that I know used to do little tagline. Oh, they love him in France. Why? Because the French are crazy. But yeah, it was a whole weird thing with that. Of all people, the French. But I guess they had a fondness for those wacky kind of films, and especially the Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis films. Oh yeah, what was I? I was making a point about the fact that Sinatra, who appeared on the show because he was buddy with Jerry Lewis, had this idea, which he obviously worked out and got it. And the only person who could have done this was Frank Sinatra. That powerful a guy as he was, he got Dean Martin to come out and appear, reunite with Jerry Lewis. And I'm like a kid, right? And I'm watching this shit. I'm like, oh my God, we were all blown away, right? Is this really happening? Because not only were they, obviously a divorce that they never talked about each other. Never. That's how fractured a relationship that they had. Yet Sinatra went to Dean and said, look, Dino, you're going to do me a favor. You're going to go on the stage at the Las Vegas and wherever it was, the MGM, Hilton, and I want you to go out and embrace and make up with Jerry Lewis. And as they say, the rest is history and all that. So anyway, I don't want to do a whole litany on this thing. If you agree with me, great. If you don't, if you want to say what you're doing, do what you're saying. I am here. Now, I don't see the crowd in the theater box office that I'm used to getting. Maybe people might are eating dinner. Maybe they're watching a movie, that kind of thing. Do you guys want me to stay here? You want me, or do you want me to get the hell out? Somebody, let's see. We got David McGill, we got Jane, and we've got, what's that? What's your name? Let's see. Jewish-owned delis are the best. Well, no shit. No, I'm giving you shit. Of course. Thank you. We're known for that. Yeah. good food, lawyers, surgeons. I had a funny story once. This comic said, what is there such a bad deal to say that, God forbid, you're stuck in something, you have a medical issue, or God forbid, you have a heart attack and you survive and they rush you to the hospital and you have to have surgery, right? Now tell me you don't want a Jewish named surgeon to work on you who was a cardiologist, right? Dr. Irving Weinstein, right? You don't want Dr. Steve Porter, who might be the greatest surgeon in the world. I'm just giving you an idea. People, I'm serious, right? To the guy who the deli guy. Um, yeah, you want a surgeon. We're known to be good doctors and surgeons and all that. So, excuse me. I'm losing my voice. No, I'm not. I'm okay. But the water helps. Icelandic water. So what do we got? I said hi to David. Hi to Jane. Jane didn't even have the courtesy to acknowledge my hi to her. I'm just kidding. Welcome to the chat. Remember, okay, we got 3 people. So I didn't define specifically when I was coming back on, and I should have been more specific. And frankly, I just, I did this. So I know eventually it's going to get a lot of people in here. So I'm tempted to wait it out and talk to myself and a few of you people, the few that you're here right now. But I'm not scared or challenged because there's only 3 people in here right now. It's because, as I just said, I came on here out of the blue, and I didn't give. I said like 7:30 my time, so there could be people that are finishing up dinner out here in the West Coast time zone. Maybe people decided to go rent a movie or watch. By the way, is that not part of the lexicon anymore? Renting a movie when you can get it on your smart ass, which I call it, television. You don't need to rent that industry is gone by the wayside, right? Because you can just go on your television and go on one of those on demands and get the movie that you want to see. Anyway, enough about that. Yes, folks, I do talk about everything and I go into sidebars. What are you guys doing here? You're just looking. You're still here. Hey, what's the guy's name? Oh, Jewish. Oh, yeah, that's the last. Are you guys just looking at me and saying he's disturbed, or I mean, you're here. I can see that you're here. If you guys have any questions for me, shoot off, shoot away. I'm here and ready to answer. If you have the desire to ask me a question. Ooh, did you hear that when I said, "Ooh, ask me the question"? I sounded like that putz. The guy, remember, he's dead now, but the one that hosted at the Actors Studio, what was his name? Lipton, James Lipton, who took egotistical and self-absorbed asshole into a national description about himself. But he was entertaining. I'll give him that. That's why he got that gig and why they did satires and mimicked him on Saturday Night Live, right? He'd go like to pick any celebrity guest. Richard Gere. Now, he didn't ask this question, but I should have and could have if I had Richard Gere on. All right. Now, this is me doing my impression of James Lipton asking Richard Gere a question. So, you just made American Gigolo. People love you. You're kind of the unusual, eccentric actor What then, Richard Gere? What's with the gerbils? He would have asked him that. He could have. He didn't. We all know why. Okay. People, some are getting it, some don't get it. I have 3 people here, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my phone, and we will be interactive. If not, I'll take a break. We'll get my vocal cords enlightened. Might even eat something because I'm starving. And we'll just see. So hold on here. I'm going to grab my lovely iPhone, which doesn't ring anymore. Sorry. Oh, okay. Oh boy, here. Okay. If you have a question and you would like to text me, I'm reading this and I can't read it. Somebody asking, I don't know. I think they're using Russian letters or alphabets. 415-999-4454. 415-999-4454. If you want to text me a question, you can do that. If you have feedback and you want to email me, it's rich.lieberman, Lieberman @gmail.com. If you're in the super chat, whatever that is, and you want to donate, there's a mechanism to which you can donate. I do this on YouTube periodically. I just started it. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to do periodic shows, give you a little information, give you a little impressions. We'll talk about the news. We'll talk about what's obviously on your palate, and that's the Ron Owens, Jan Black, Laura Owens thing and all that. We'll get into that too. Questions 415-999-4454. 415-999-4454 as we broadcast live from the mysterious San Francisco Bay Area in California on this very warm in our neck of the woods. Last night of August before we turn the calendar and oh God, hit September. I mean, I literally can think of what I was doing. I just got out of the shower on the 4th of July, which is always good to shower. And now all of a sudden July, 2 months goes by like it's 2 days. I remember what I was doing New Year's Eve. We're fucking 7 months into this new year and all that. So if you guys have questions, if you have some requests, like you want to see somebody mimicked, I do that. And by the way, as a side gig, I do weddings, bar mitzvahs, funerals. If you want to make me perform at your ex-spouse's funeral, I do some very, very good death jokes. If you have an open casket, that's $50 extra. If it's a closed casket, regular rates apply. If you have a Jewish funeral, wedding, $100 minimum deposit. I do Catholic weddings. I will read the Torah if you want. I will read the Bible. I can also do some, musical instruments and things of that nature. I have a ventriloquist part of me too. I don't do what do you call it? What's the thing? Tossing. What is this shit? Somebody help me out here. Rabbi Broadkey from Temple Sinai. Who is this? Jay? Jay, do you know me? Because that's an inside joke. And is that a pseudonym, Jay? Rabbi. Oh my God, Temple Sinai. That's where I had my bris done. was Temple Sinai. And I don't want to get into the whole thing about, but you all who don't have circumcision, get a circumcision. Make an appointment. Even though you're an adult now, you can get it cut off. And I'm joking. Relax. Jay. Who's Jay? You have to know something. Who are you people? You come in here, what are you, just looking at me and not saying anything? So I'm tempted to continue on, but I'm also tempted to, take a break because there's not many people here. And yesterday I had a huge crowd and I didn't do any promotion or plugging whatsoever. And I'm starving. I could go for, what is your nosh food? Like, I like the crackers that have like the little seeds and the shit. You put the brie on it and all that. I'm not a white wine guy. I don't drink anymore. So I don't do the cheese and the brie or the brie cheese and all that, but it does taste good with some crackers and some tomato soup with the mac and all that shit. It's damn good eating. People ask me, well, what's your favorite food and all that. Food that I really love that I slacked off on eating lately because I my luck, I get like a worm that goes in my abdomen, and that is sushi. Love sushi, love sashimi. I had to be dragged once. I had never eaten raw fish. I'm going to eat raw fish till you realize that it's you're eating a lot of raw shit that you don't even know about and all that kind of thing. But anyway, I went in. I said, "Oh, what the fuck?" So my sister dragged me into this place, and boy, did I became an aficionado of sushi. I love it. I know a lot of people don't like it, and they have fear. They don't like the taste. They don't like the texture or whatever. And I totally get that. So none of you guys are talking. So I'm going to see what's going on here. I may come back. I may not. But I don't want to, the show must go on kind of a thing. I don't want people to show up and then I'm not here. So a few things too. As I said, if you want to become a subscriber to my channel, please do so. If you like me, please tell your friends, your enemies, your priest, your rabbi, your lawyer, your banker, your plumber about the show that I do, which is always live and interactive, hopefully on the radar where we can talk. If you want to ask me a question, if you have a comment, and you want to text me, 415-999-4454. Can I say that any slower? 415-999-4454. Very simple and very real. What else we got going? I could just sit here and do a dance or something and wait till, what do we have now? How many people we have here? 1, 2, 3. Oh, we have 4. Yesterday, it was crowded. I think a lot of maybe people are watching a movie or tuning in to Jerry Lewis, even though he's been dead for 5 years now. But let me check here and see something. Somebody just. Somebody said, I'm making steamed veggies. Well, that's good. Glad to let me know. Right. I'm actually one of the people that likes steamed veggies. I don't really care for raw, other than maybe carrots. I prefer raw carrots as opposed to steamed carrots. I love broccoli. I love Swiss chard. Those women out there and men who have recipes are going to want to make me some vegetables. Please send it my way. So for now, folks, here's what I'm going to do. It is, what is it? It's 8 o'clock. It's a little after 8, 8:07 on the West Coast. I'm going to take a break. I may or may not be back because I'm tired. Did a show earlier today. I've been doing a lot of interviews. Thank you for caring and wanting to talk to me, interviewees. And I will decide whether or not I come back. So if you want me to come back, you know my email address. Oh, at Twitter, I'm at Rich415Media. You could do that too. And if not, I may or may not be back on Labor Day. So, and we'll do impressions and comedy and all that. But, you know, a lot of people here are basically, oh, now we have let's see, talk a little bit about Dr. The bird calling guy. Okay. So a lot of you saw the Tonight Show, and Johnny Carson, one of his most popular segments, is they had it was usually right around the end of May, you know, when the kids graduated from high school, and they did a thing called the Piedmont High School Bird Calling Contest, and it was concocted by a guy named Dr. Waxdeck. Was it Leonard Waxdeck? Something like that. And I didn't go to Piedmont High. I went to Skyline, which was the public school, general vicinity, maybe a little farther away. And I don't think I've ever told this story, but yeah, that was the big thing. And they became very popular, and you know, I mean, they did this thing every year, and they go like they get these 5 or 6 students, the finalists from the Piedmont school. But Piedmont's a very, very well-to-do burb in the Oakland Hills. It's kind of like in between Piedmont, Rockridge, and Berkeley. And they'd have kids that would come out and Johnny got a kick out of it for Johnny Carson reasons. But these kids would come out and they'd like say, I'm just making this up, but kind of like English condor. The audience would laugh, and then then they'd have the semifinalists, and they have the final, and then they have the winner. Blue Jay, Canadian Blue Jay. Something like that. Didn't sound like a bird. So yeah, that was the big to do. The guy who was a professor at Piedmont. He's the guy who invented it. So he'd come on the show, and Johnny would talk to him, and then they'd have the students do their thing. And I think eventually when Johnny retired, they went over to Leno, which was kind of cool because they got to go to New York, go inside the theater there, and all that. So, all right. Jay Belton. Okay. So I hope I answer the question. Folks, thank you for watching. I'm going to take a break. I may or may not be back. Just look up my social media on Twitter. And by the way, down the road, I'm going to be opening up for the Osmond brothers. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm not going to be opening. They just lost one of the Osmond brothers, did they not? Now people are starting to come in. Let's see. Thank you, Rich. Okay. Jay, who are you? That's not your real name. And do I know you? And you must have known me because you came up with a very geography centro type of a question. So, God, last night was packed. And it was like my opening night. I was coming on stage here for the first time on YouTube, even though I've done many shows and all that, but I haven't done comedy. And now the second night, I think something's going on. Maybe there's a news event. Maybe people are watching a movie, they're eating, what have you. But I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the fact that you guys are watching me. And let's see. So I will be back. Or as Schwarzenegger used to say, I'll be back. Or I won't be back. We'll see. My voice is the shits, and I need to drink water and eat something, okay? Maybe a good turkey sandwich or something. I'll see you later. Watch for me on Twitter at Rich415Media, and then you'll know if I'm back. If not, we'll see you probably on Monday, but more than likely Tuesday. Hope you have the great rest of your holiday weekend, and we will see you later. Thanks.